Hi everybody. So as the title implies, this video is going to go over a few basic tips about how to make your writing more musical and pleasing to the audience's ear. Of course, every audience member is different, so take all this advice with a grain of salt. But I suggest you use these tips to make your writing sound better to you. To paraphrase the songwriter India.Arie, the words that come out of your keyboard, you're the first to hear. First up, beat. There's a lot of really technical information out there about how to count the syllables or beats in your writing, but I'm not going to stress that too much. Formal technical meter can make beautiful poems and sentences, but I think the old elementary school method is just fine. We can all learn a sense of rhythm. So to find the beat of your writing, say it out loud, distinctly, and clearly while you hold the back of your hand under your chin. Every time your chin hits your hand, that's a syllable. You'll notice that sometimes your chin hits your hand harder than other times. Those harder hits are when you're saying a stressed or emphasized syllable. If you notice the stressed syllables popping up at regular intervals, say on every other syllable or every third syllable, you got a steady beat. And that's fine. It's a first step toward musical writing. If the chin test doesn't work for you, you can try clapping along to your reading too. Of course, if your writing just marches along to the same steady beat the whole time, it's going to get boring and wear out your readers pretty fast. The key to good writing is not only to use a technique, but to know when to break the habit and stop using it. This tip, called variation, helps readers stay on their toes because they're waiting to see if you'll go back to the repetition they've already seen or if you'll move on to something new. In this way, repetition and variation are just more techniques that writers use to build creative tension and keep audiences interested. Some ways to break up your rhythms and add variation include: add a longer pause. This might mean ending a sentence, ending a poetic line, ending a paragraph, or otherwise using punctuation and white space to make readers slow down or stop. Second, use homophones or puns to switch up the meaning of a repeated word. For example, you might rhyme R-E-D, red as in the color, with R-E-A-D, read as in I read the book last night. Third, move the stressed syllables earlier or later, or double or triple up on the stresses. You can always go back to your steady beat later, and switching things up can help you reset. But your writing's heartbeat is not the only thing you need to think about. You also need to consider the tone of its voice. This next part is a little theoretical, so just bear with me. Back in the early 20th century, modernist poet Ezra Pound argued that vowel sounds in words, that is the I, O, E, A, I, oo, and so on, were like musical notes. In his view, each vowel sound had a different tone or pitch, from the lowest bass of oo to the highest shriek of e. The chart I'm about to show you gives an idea of what Pound considered the scale of vowel notes. It's kind of like the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do you might have learned in elementary school. Only stretched out over all the different vowel sounds that exist in English. Of course, this scale would be different for different languages, but we won't get into all of Ezra Pound's biases and blind spots right now. The main thing you can do with that scale is consider how your words will sound to people. Will they sound deeply resonating, rich, and mellow? Will they sound hushed and awed, short-tempered and irritated, screechy? The choice is yours, and it makes a difference. As in music, you can choose your vowel notes to create a certain mood, and you can sequence the notes in a certain order to make a pleasing melody. For example, let's consider the word melody. It starts with an S sound, almost like an old lady who can't quite hear what you're saying. Then it moves down the scale to an O sound, as if she finally heard you and realized something deep. Then it swings up to an E sound, as if that realization just sunk in and she's having some feelings about what she just thought. You don't have to think about your word choice in that much detail all the time, but the more carefully you choose your words and the sounds of them, then the more likely you'll get the response that you want from your audience.